Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy. So, none of us is getting younger. It's one of those things it doesn't matter what we do, doesn't matter how much we jog or eat right or whatever it happens to be, none of us is getting younger. There's nothing we can do about it. Right? And this is a phenomenon that often is remarked upon in novels, and movies, and TV shows. The one that always occurs to me is that great moment towards the end of Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, when Spock, who's feeling reflective and feeling some self-doubt, although Spock doesn't feel a lot, right? He looks at Kirk and says, "Is it possible, you and I, that we have actually outlived our usefulness?" Needless to say, they haven't. But I was thinking about that scene the other day when I was reading a story on the CNN site about a phenomenon that's taking place in Japan, and it's called Osan rentals. And Osan is the Japanese word for middle-aged men. Yes, in Japan, they are renting out middle-aged men. Now, this is not kinky at all. According to the story, basically what's happened is in Japan, there has been a recognition that when, people, especially young people, need advice, need a little guidance, some perspective, they don't necessarily want to go to somebody they know because they've known them for a long time and they bring baggage to what the conversation happens to be. And so, in fact, there is a market for renting out middle-aged men who, preferably people who have, been through some personal or professional crises, some drama, and have come out at the other end because they can listen, they can offer some guidance, they can go for a walk, they can go out for a cup of coffee, they can go for a drink, and they can just provide perspective and guidance and maybe even a little bit of accumulated wisdom to people. Now, listen. There are a bunch of services like this in Japan. One of them, according to the story, was offering, basically last year, they had 45 Osan rentals a day. 45 different rentals of middle-aged men. That's amazing to me. And, listen, some people want some advice. Some people just want, a shoulder to cry on. And hey, listen, some people want manual labor. They want somebody who can, put up a picture or lift some boxes or whatever it happens to be. Now, what's interesting about this is it didn't just happen because there was a recognition in the marketplace that people might actually be able to take advantage of the kind of accumulated wisdom that middle-aged men might offer. It was also there because, quite frankly, in Japan, middle-aged men, they were hitting sort of a crisis point, right? The economy had not been kind to them. While they used to be respected in the culture, that had gone away to some degree. And things like lifetime employment contracts, they were going away. And so there were all these middle-aged men out there who had nothing to do, and this sort of fit into what their needs were as well. And this is ingenious to me, right? Somebody actually saw a market for it and actually saw supply, saw demand, put it together, and boom, it's actually an industry now in Japan. Now, I have to say, as somebody who, in fact, thinks of himself as middle-aged, although my kids point out that if I am actually middle-aged, it means I'm going to live to be 128, which is, in fact, my plan. But I think of myself as middle-aged, and therefore, listen, maybe that's the next thing after Morning Newsbeat, right? I can get a career as an Osan if we can somehow figure out a way to bring this concept to the United States. I'm totally up for it. I think it'd be great. I'm good at listening. I'm good at offering advice. Some people will say, based on Morning Newsbeat, that maybe I pontificate a little too much. Just don't use me for manual labor. I'm not really good on that kind of stuff. There is one thing, though. The CNN story pointed out that the Osan rate in Japan is about $10 an hour. I'm probably going to have to charge a little bit more than that. Although, it's at least possible that I will work for beer. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.